Hello everybody, I am Baltmatrix, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Studio Series number 98, Voyager Class, Rise of the Beasts Cheetor. Oh my heavens, I need to take a breath, that was a mouthful. Okay, whew. Alright, I picked this figure up over at Amazon.com. This figure comes with this nice, wonderful Shutterstock image of a jungle. It's very reminiscent of the first time we see Optimus Primal in the trailers. I like it. It's very tranquil. The figure itself is molded in a very dark gold, a gunmetal gray, and that's pretty much it. And maybe some silver there. Overall, it's a very striking figure, even though its color palette is so muted. I very much like this head sculpt. I just was ready to hate it, but it works for me. It looks like an evolution of the Cheetor that we've come to know and love or loathe over the years. The face also is very reminiscent of Optimus Primal in his battle mode. It's cool. I like it. Overall, I think the robot mode is quite good. I really do. It's definitely something that's a little bit different than we've gotten with Beast Transformers in the past. There doesn't appear to be a lot of kitty kibble hanging off the Beast or robot mode, except for one spot. Okay, I lied, two spots. The heels are definitely cat claws, and then on each fist there is a cat claw coming off, but these could be used as weapons, so I forgive those. Speaking of weapons, the figure comes with these cool lances that he can hold in robot mode. And both of them are different tips, they're different lengths, and they're just really neat. And they combine to form this kick-ass spear. That's really cool. Holding both of the lances like this make the figure look really, really cool, and has some definite MMPR Blue Ranger vibes. But holding the full spear really makes the figure pop in a way that I just cannot explain. I don't know why this works for me so well. Something else that works for me a lot is the fact that I keep finding cool little details on the figure. I love the shoulder molding. I love the way that the shoulders are molded. You've got what is supposed to be Beast stuff on the back, and then this full robot look in the side. It really reminds me of the original Cheetor. And then the Maximal symbol right there in the tiniest middle part of the chest. I only just noticed this a couple of minutes ago. I mean, that's so cool. And then when you turn the figure around, you've got more of the Beast detailing, because obviously this is a cat bot, so of course it's going to transform exactly like Cheetor does. The tail does not come off. I mean, you can pop it off and can't be wielded in robot mode as a weapon, but it folds up nicely in the curve of the back, and then the back is molded nicely, and he's got a butt flap, but the butt flap is easily moved, and the tail doesn't get in the way much at all, and it's just well thought out. In robot mode, I absolutely love this thing. Now, I would have really loved it if they had bothered to go with a bright yellow and then the bright blue that the original character was, instead of the muted color palette of the movie. I have a strange feeling that my good buddy Grimlockamus might be taking care of that for us. In terms of posability, Cheetor's head is on a ball joint and also acts as a swivel. There's an interesting series of hinges going on with the shoulder. So first off, there is the hinge for the transformation, the swivel that's attached to that, then the shoulder pylon or the shoulder pad has its own hinge that allows for more movement on another hinge, or actually in this case a swivel, for the actual arm to go all the way out. There is a swivel just above the elbow bends at 90 degrees, and then the fist does have articulation of its own. And then yes, the little claws can move up and down. I would have loved it if there was a way that these could tuck up somewhere. There is a torso swivel, however, you need to make sure that the butt flap is up and out of the way, otherwise not going to work. Legs can kick forward and can kick back pretty far. There is 90 degrees worth of beautiful spread. Then there is a thigh swivel. Bend at the knee is around 90 degrees. And ankle rocker for both directions, which is a little bit weird, but that allows you to pull off some neat poses. For size comparisons, here is Voyager class Tigatron. I thought, one kitty bot to another kitty bot of the same size class was all we needed. You can see that new Cheetor is actually just a smidge, maybe just a hair taller than Tigatron. As you could tell, I'm pretty happy with Cheetor in robot mode, except for the paint. I would just love a little bit of more, life in the colors. Again, I understand why they're going with the paint this way. That's a Paramount thing. I mean, all of the characters are very muted in their color tones, but oh well. Do I think the same thing about the cheetah mode? Well, let's go ahead and get into the transformation. For the transformation, it is the typical feline, do a bunch of stuff with the upper torso and then kind of futz with the legs into cat mode. But there are a couple of neat twists here. To start off with, let's go ahead and start with the torso. The directions have you start with the legs, but I want to start with the torso. Fold down the kitty tail all the way, grab the area just behind the head and pull it away from the body, opening up that door. That allows you to flip out the giant cat head, reach underneath the giant cat head and flip out this piece to, cover up some other stuff later. Then you can either reach up front and grab the entire chest and open it up, or you could just push it from the back and then fold Cheetor's robot head up and close up the chest, close up the back, and we're just about done. This is the real reason I started the transformation with this part, because you get kitty head. Oh, somebody's going to make a mod of this. I know they are. Cheetah Man aside, you want to extend the head as far as it'll go, turn the shoulder, then there's this slot on the shoulder which will peg into that peg. And it's not hard to get it lined up, but I find I struggle sometimes because there is an extra joint in here in the cheetah head that I keep missing. So when you put the cheetah back and you fold it up into the back, this gets out of whack and it ends up kind of like this. So you want to actually push that all the way down, and that will give you the extra length it needs in order to bring the shoulders around and peg them into place like that. Now, for the arms, what we do, we turn the arms such that the swivels are pointing inside, and then take the furry bits and swing them behind the leg, or behind the forearms like that, and turn the hands and flip out the claws or paws or whatever you want to call them. So there we have the front of Cheetah Man. All right, let's talk about the legs next. And this is neat. I like this. To start off with, grab the shins and pull them away from the lower legs. Then take the entire lower leg section and turn it around 180 degrees. And then the shin will hinge up and peg into those peg holes, specifically this one, at the back of the thigh. So that takes care of that section. Now, turn the legs forward like that. Next, take the lower part and fold it all the way forward like that. And then hinge the knee back and flip up the toe, or robot toe. And there we go. That is one of the rear legs. So on this side, fold it back. Fold it all the way forward. Hinge the toe up. And we're almost done. The last bit has to do with the butt flap, and I forgot to mention there is a small peg hole in the butt for a stand of some sort. Also, for the actual butt flap that folds down and pegs into place, thus holding it all together. And for real, lastly, take this section we folded out and flip it in, and you've got the bottom scruff of the cat head. And here we have the cheetah mode, and I've got to admit, it works pretty well, but there is one major flaw that I'll talk about later, and it's not a QC issue, thankfully. The overall look of the cheetah mode is good. I think it works well. Again, I would just love it if these beige-ish color schemes, and it's not beige, it's a very, very mute gold, was brighter. But that's not the style now. The style is beige. Beige for days. The head sculpt and the painting on the face is really really good. There's green in those eyes, which I greatly appreciate. And I'm just going to turn one of my lights to the side here. And yeah, I like it. I like it quite a bit. It also looks older than Cheetor has classically been. Cheetor has been much, much younger. Mouth does open, though there are teeth in there. It's kind of hard to see. Head doesn't really have much in terms of articulation. That's it. No side to side. I would have loved it if it was on a ball joint, though it kind of is. It can rotate around 360 degrees, which is weird, but it can't look side to side at all. Now, the quote-unquote flaw I was talking about earlier has to do with the front legs. They can't pose. They can't splay out like the rear legs can. They can't really move forward because they're pegged into place. There is a series of hinges here for, the arms of the robot mode that it can kind of pose a little bit. They can't move in and out for more dynamic poses. So you can't do cooler poses that are able to be pulled off, even with some of the Kingdom figures. Now, that's not to say that this is a bad figure. I do see that as a minor flaw / issue, but it's not going to break the figure. It's not going to destroy the figure for me. In fact, having the figure like this, where you have one paw back and one paw forward, I think works incredibly well. And then when you open the mouth, you've got a much more dynamic look to the figure than you would otherwise. It's a good figure, just hampered by one little bit of posability. In this mode, the 2 slots on the figure's back can be used to store the lances, though I've always found they do kind of not want to go in on mine. They do fit, though. You just kind of got to be careful, and once they're pegged in, I always have a tendency of popping them off. It would have been neat if you could plug them into the sides of the figure, kind of get a blade Liger thing going on here, but this works. At least there is weapon storage. I'm looking at you, Tiger Boy. Overall, Cheetor is cool. I like this figure quite a bit, and I'm really, really glad I picked it up. It's... How do I explain this? I had a lot of worries about this figure, specifically because of the color scheme, and it just looked like a chunky mess in some of those initial pictures, but it isn't. There is an elegance to the figure, and there is a joy to the figure. Yes, it's very muted color schemes, and unfortunately that's the style with a lot of the beasts in this movie and the movie line. There's nothing I could do about that. And I was talking to my wife, and she said that that is really the style right now and over the past few years is the muted color schemes. Which is a shame, because I think Cheetor deserves to be bright and colorful and super loud and in your face, because that's the character. Now, is the character going to be like that in the new movie? No idea. We haven't heard anything from these new characters other than we saw him running with Bumblebee at one point, and at one point he jumps off a rock and transforms in the background of a scene. Is it a good figure? Yes, it's actually a legitimately fun figure. It's got good accessories, a fun transformation, and it feels nice and chunky and robotic, which I greatly appreciate. Are there flaws? A couple of minor ones, but nothing earth-shattering that would make me tell you not to even bother with this figure. It's worth picking up. So folks, let me know what you think of Cheetor down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and I will catch you all next time.